G'day punters, welcome to the Sydney preview show for the mailbag. Pete Anthonisz joined by Mark Shean and Mark Rhoden. Mark Shean, I'll start with you. It's Golden Rose Week. How does this edition match up with some of the previous incarnations we've seen over the last few years?
I think last year's field was probably a bit better. We had Bivouac Exceedance and yes. So I'm not sure that it's quite at that quality depth-wise. Favourite Rothfire, of course, is a winner, and he might be able to complete the Run to the Rose and Golden Rose double, but I think it's probably lacking a little bit of depth compared to last year and possibly a few years in the past.
Overall, having a look at the card, what's your initial thoughts coming into the meeting at Rosehill?
Well, we've got a lot of short price favourites on the day. Rails back in the true position. We haven't had it in the true there on a decent track probably since April. And the track did seem to play reasonably fair that day, so fingers crossed it turns out that way on Saturday.
Mark Rhoden, welcome to the show. Just forecasting towards the weekend, 25 to 35 kilometre hour northwesterly. Much of an impact on the way that the races will unfold from your point of view?
I'm not sure. Looking at the map of the track, a westerly sort of hits them side on in the straight, so it's probably in their face a bit down the side, although I don't know how much difference that would make in the tight shoot races either. Wind doesn't seem to have as much as an effect as it does at Randwick generally anyway at Rosehill. But
okay.
The last true rail we had was on the heavy track and it was up the inside, but as Mark said, we haven't been on a good track for a long time.
Okay, we're going to touch on races 5 through 8 at Rosehill on Saturday. We'll start with race 5, which is the Heritage Stakes over the 1100 listed race for the 3-year-olds. Quite a competitive field. The market's obviously very open as a result. There's a few horses coming off the trials. Mark Shean, between the Snowden pair of Wild Ruler and Marbusha, did you have a lean one way or the other with both of those horses coming from the one trial?
Yeah, look, I thought they both trialled well. They ran very fast time. I've gone for Marbusha because she's got the 4 kilo pull in the weights, and I just map her probably straight outside Forbidden Love to start off with, and may end up just in the 1-1 or outside the lead. So, look, she just kept going forward last preparation, and I think that map looks good, and I'm pretty happy with the price around $859. So I think on an each-way basis, I'm going to attack Marbusha in this race. I thought Wild Ruler trialled quite well in the same heat. He did trial on Monday prior to the official trial, who'd left in front in a very slowly run heat there. He has been a bit of a hard goer in the past, but he looks to have settled a bit better in his trials this time in.
For sure. Mark Rhoden, jumping into the race, did you have anything that really stood out at the current prices?
Not really. When I first looked at it, I thought I might end up with Forbidden Love out of the fillies group races, and she was favourite anyway. But as I've done it in depth, I haven't even got her on top. I've got Wild Ruler, Destination and Marbusha, the other 3 chances along with her. I've got a pretty even sort of market. And I don't have anything great overs at this stage. There's a fair bit of percentage there. I've got a few unders, but I don't have many overs, unfortunately. That trial took my eye as well. Wild Ruler and Marbusha, they're obviously going well. Marbusha, there doesn't seem to be much of Marbusha physically, but obviously she's down on the limit here. That probably shouldn't be too much of an issue. But if I was forced to have a top pick, it'd be Wild Ruler, but I've got him marked around $5.56 anyway, so there's no real edge here for me.
Yeah, it does look like a race. You'll have to probably wait until the day. I certainly have a bit of a want to have a look at the yard just for whatever vision we get of a few of these, in particular Marbusha. Thought the trial was pretty good and had plenty of time for that horse last preparation, but also Destination for me was a horse that went straight in the black book after last start. The splits going through the line really good. The overall rating was strong, but maybe just a small query just given gate 1. Although having said that, the horse has shown it's been able to jump and put itself slightly more forward. Just whether or not it's able to hold that early, that's probably the small concern for me. But I guess those are the 2 that I'll be angling for in race 5. Race 6 on the card is over the 1500 metres, the Shannon Stakes, the Group 2. And just looking at the map, that's probably the point of interest. We saw Just Thinking coming out of that Newcastle race last start, sort of slightly slow away and was bustled, couldn't quite get itself into the right spot and ended up drifting back to a midfield position. Mark Rhoden, in terms of your map, do you have Just Thinking leading?
With the blinkers back on, I think, yes, I do. And Quacker Jack's in the same boat. Blinkers back on, and they're, well known on pace types, and there's not many others in the race. Riadini raced forward at her first go over here and weakened. But from barrier 1, I expect her to be up close as well. I Am Superman looks like getting the same sort of run he did at Caulfield first up, either 1 out 1 back or 1 out 2 back.
Mark, Shean, you had a bit of time for I Am Superman coming out of the trials, I think, when we spoke probably close to a month ago or so. And then we saw it win first up at Caulfield. What are you doing with the horse being favourite here coming out of that Caulfield race? Are you putting a bit of a knock on that Melbourne form?
Look, I don't know a lot about that Melbourne form. I've gone searching for it a little bit, but I just thought this horse had trialled particularly, a lot better than his previous preparation. So I was looking for an improved run first up, and he certainly delivered that. Probably looks skinny enough, but I think he will get the right run in the race here. As Mark pointed out, Blinkers and you too, Peter, Blinkers on Just Thinking and Quackerjacks, both noted leaders. So I can't see them loafing in this race. I thought it looked like Elvis might posse up from a good draw here. Had no luck at all last start. It was 3 wide and a limb all the way in a position where you couldn't win from. And like Rock has come out of that race, and so too Coling. So it looks like it might be a good form race to me. So I think at around the $7 or $8 mark, I'd be entertaining him and maybe saving on I Am Superman. So 6 from 5 for me in the Shannon.
Yeah, I was going to go 6 from 13, just trying to Dutch up both Just Thinking and Looks Like Elvis. Mark Rhoden, for yourself, do you have a play in the Shannon?
Possibly, but it might be a bit wide. I thought I Am Superman, who's got the job done nicely. His time wasn't sensational or anything at Caulfield first up, and he's coming off 28 days too. There's just a couple of little negatives. The map's the big positive, obviously, and the fact he's going well and in form. But I thought at under $4, that was, pretty discounted. Looks like Elvis, definitely. Just hasn't had any luck yet. Best figure's more than competitive in this. Very good chance. He opened up a bit longer than this, I think, but still he's looks backable. I might be having a dream with Nicanova, giving it another chance. You wouldn't back it anywhere on its last start. It was dreadful. But last time, it put in a very fat run in Brisbane last summer and came out and bounced straight back to its best form. And I think it won the start after that. So if it's a bit speculative because he was very poor last start, but overall his form's pretty solid. And he has a pretty solid bank of figures that make him competitive in this, and just hoping he could bounce back at $16. He might be worth a little play. Nudge. I'm not sure what to do with her because she's now had the 28 days off as well after a flashing light first up run. Even from barrier 9, I think she's probably going back again. I wanted to find her, but I'm not sure if I can. $15 sort of entices me, but I don't know. I'm not sure yet. But looks like Elvis, and a bit of a guess on Nicanova for me, I think.
Funny enough, after that flat run, Nicanova came out and beat Looks Like Elvis. That was up at Eagle Farm in the Magic Millions Burnborough handicap. Yep. So there you go.
Yeah, he's just got that little pattern to bounce back quickly off a flat one, so just at the price.
Yep. For sure. All right, race 7 is the main event, the Golden Rose over 1400. The Group 1, map-wise, looks relatively straightforward in terms of there not being a great deal of pace in the event. There's been a little bit of money throughout the week for Peltzer, but Rothfire's been absolutely rock solid. Mark Rhoden, speed-wise, what are you anticipating here? Are you expecting a genuine tempo, or you think they might dawdle?
It'll be okay at best. I don't think they'll be flying along. Peltzer would ideally like to get control, but I think Yardstick's going to be at least nuisance value and probably even takes it up, I think. And I think Peltzer takes the box seat with Rothfire just doing what he likes if they're just sitting outside the lead, I imagine. But I don't think it'll be breakneck, no. Mark
Shean, are you able to find an angle around Rothfire at all?
No, I've tried to, but I keep coming back to the favourite. As you boys have pointed out, there doesn't look to be as much speed. We saw a similar thing last year where Bivouac probably went about a second slower on Golden Rose Day and was able to just camp outside the lead and outsprint them. And it looks a pretty similar scenario here with Rothfire. He was first up. He carried more weight than most of the other runners in the race. So a lot of these meet him at worse weights. His second up form's impeccable. I really can't bag him, so no, I won't be backing anything to beat him.
Yeah, I'll be much in the same boat, I think. I'm not sure I'll be jumping into anything in this race. Rothfire's also had the win at the distance previously, which is always nice. Mark Rhoden, you had time for North Pacific last start, and it actually started shorter than Rothfire. You able to find a case for him this start?
Just that he'd had a little break before that, and he comes into this at 14 days, and he looks like 1400 will suit him. The jury's still out on whether he's a wet tracker. These two through the roof runs have been on soft ground, so that's an issue as well. Kirk's hasn't put a foot wrong this prep, has closed off really well, but in short course, fast paces, I think the horse will be suited by 1400. I don't think there's any doubt about that, but this is going to be a totally different pace profile from what he's encountered so far this prep. So, yeah, if it is a moderate pace 7 furlong race, that's not going to suit him, and he won't be able to close like he did. He was quite eye-catching behind Rothfire last time, but it's well documented how hot the speed set by Farnham was that day, so he was obviously suited. I'm in the same boat as trying to find angles around Rothfire. He's gone to a new level first up. Generally a sort of horse I'd like to try and get beaten because they can be a bit flat second up, but I'm struggling.
Yep. Okay, I think that's fair enough. Race 8 is the Golden Pendant over 1,400 metres once more, the Group 2 for the fillies and mares. And again, another race dominated by a pretty short favourite, and I'll slaughter again the pronunciation. Apologies to Rob Scurry, but Hot Brion, her $2.40 best available, was a dominant winner first up. Map-wise, Mark Rhoden, is it a little bit trickier this start with Adelong, Sweet Deal, maybe even Positive Peace providing nuisance value just early in the race?
Well, I thought that Adelong in particular, out to 1,400, they would be a bit conservative with. They didn't try and lead last time at 1,200, so I think it just sits off. Positive Peace, yes, from gate 1, I expect to be box seat at least. But the same too, Sweet Deal and Aubryon or something. They might even get over easier this time, I think, those two.
Yeah. And then what it comes down to is the price. Mark Shean, are you finding anything in the race to beat the favourite at all?
Well, the pace scenario is pretty similar to Rosehill. They're the same sort of horses, so she was able to cross and sit on the speed and hold them off there. The only negative would be that she was trained right up first up, and whether that's gassed her a little bit. So I think a lot will depend on how she parades before the race. So maybe tune in there for what Rob's got to say. That could be the only negative I could find with her, because in the past she's always, ratings-wise, gone ahead from a first run to a second up run, and she's got good 1,400 metre form. Look, I've tried to find something to beat her. I'll probably burn a couple of hundred looking for a miracle. Look, I think Subpoenaed might go a little bit better at 1,400 metres, but I think she's better when there's smaller fields and she doesn't have to give away too much start. But from an inside draw there, she might posse up, and I think she was hitting the line pretty well there the other day. So, and I could throw possibly something on Outback Barbie, very small. I think it was in a bad position all the way last start and ran on okay.
Okay. Mark Rhoden, any bet for yourself in race 8 at this stage?
Maybe. It's a bit like Rothfire, this one. She's gone very well first up, has to repeat second up, and as Mark mentioned, was trained up that day, so there's a chance she's flat. When you're getting in this short, that concerns me a little, so I'm not keen to take the current price about her. That said, I couldn't really back anything that finished behind her to beat her. I take the point about Subpoenaed. I expect her to probably be closer in the run from this barrier, but if I was looking for something, it might be Emeralds, who just got into a pretty awful spot at Wyong and set a pretty big task, and it's drawn a gate today on Saturday as well, barrier 2, so it potentially could sit a little bit closer, and just being that little bit of different form and double figure odds, I could make a quarter of a case for her. But if Hawkby on her goes to the level she did first up, I can't see her being beaten.
Yeah, I tend to agree there. The horse I had a little bit of interest in at a bigger price was Positive Peace, but the figure first up this prep probably wasn't quite as impressive as what it was last prep, but second up it did perform really well, and that second up form last preparation was really strong. So I wouldn't be surprised if that horse improved. So
she went about 12 in a row or something after her first up run. But I was approaching it the same way as she improved second and third up last prep, but it was pretty plain first up.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that brings us to the end. We won't touch on race 9 as such, but I was just wondering if either of you had another play or a best play for the rest of the card. Mark, Shean, I'll start with yourself.
Look, I haven't finished all the other races yet, so I'll just say Marbusha each way at those odds. I haven't got through all the other meetings races, as I said, so just leave it with that at the moment, mate.
For sure. Mark Rhoden, best or a value bet for yourself on this card?
Yeah, I'm in the same boat. We'll make it the Hail Mary, Nicanova in the Shannon, race 6.
Yep. 2. And I'll throw out race 6, the Dutch bet of Just Thinking and Looks Like Elvis. I think both of those horses draw well, and hopefully they can get one up over the Melbourne form. I'm happy to take that on back up in Sydney. Thank you to you both. Enjoy the weekend. All the best on the punt, and we'll review it on Monday.
Talk to you Monday.
Okay. Talk to you then, guys. Thanks.